There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world, you are watching Now Media Television.
Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Be Productive, hosted by business strategist and productivity expert Clara Capano. Join us to discuss the most critical issues affecting our businesses with a fresh, practical, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Be Productive starts right now.
Welcome back to Be Productive. I'm your host, Clara Capano, and what we are doing now is all in the segment of the letter T of the Clarity Success Model, where we are talking about the importance of tracking and measuring, not just in helping us to succeed, but also to be more productive in achieving our goals. So today we have a wonderful guest. We have Lindsay Weigel with Blue Water Advisory Group. And Lindsay, talk to us a little bit about tracking. You know, you work with a lot of leaders and are talking about the importance of understanding not just what we should track, but how it helps us to get the right things done. So tell us a little bit about what you think when it comes to tracking and measuring for success.
So I could talk about this topic for an hour, Claire. So I will work diligently to keep it within our time frame. Because here's the thing. I think that oftentimes in our worlds, we're tracking the wrong things. We're tracking for tracking's sake. We're tracking because someone else told us that's an important measurement that we should be tracking, instead of really understanding our business and how we operate within it. What we need to track at Blue Water, what is successful in our business, is likely very different than what leads to business for other organizations and for other leaders. And so the very first thing for me that it's all about is being able to pause enough to spend the time thinking about what is working and what isn't working. And to be able to gain that clarity about being focused on the things that bring you in your particular business, the business that you want. So for some people, it might be networking is really successful. So for some people, it might be sales calls that is really successful. So for some people, it might be coffee dates. For some people, it might be the number of likes on a post. There's a correlation between what you are doing and what is working with your particular segment of business. But I think that oftentimes we either get stuck with, well, it has to be the number of likes on a post or the number of comments on a post, or it has to be cold calls, or it has to be number of hours spent on the phone. I worked for an organization where they tracked how many hours you spent on the phone, as if that's the most productive way to measure your success. When in all reality, it's about what is your client? Where's your client? What are they doing to engage with you? Where are you seeing your success? But that requires us to be paying enough attention to notice. And we are all such busy doers. We are doing all the things. We have our calendars full of things. We are moving from one email and one task to the next. And so for me, it's really about slowing down enough to pay attention to what's working and then start measuring those things. So maybe it's a hierarchy of these things seem to be working, and I'm going to pay attention to these 4 things over the course of the next month and see how that's tracking with the business that I'm bringing in, and then adjusting those categories from there.
Yeah, I think that is so important that you hit on the idea that it has to be personalized to you and your organization. Regardless if you have a large organization or you're a solopreneur and an organization of one. And that's something that I try to do with my people as well, is, let's talk about your metrics, but also bring it into your personality style. Mm-hmm. For some people, their personality and their time may allow them to do more face-to-face one-on-one interaction, which can have tremendous impact. For others, they may be on the road a lot more and they need to leverage the phone. Or like you said, with networking, also, again, it could be that networking is good, but maybe not this specific networking group. So I think you're absolutely right. You have to spend some time, and, it can't just be a 1 week thing. You have to track these. Do you have an idea of what is a time frame, like maybe a minimal time frame that you should look at the activities to know if it's working or not working?
So I'm a big fan of color coding on my calendar because it allows me to understand those things at a quick glance, where I can, when I'm sort of tracking the types of work that I'm doing, it allows me at a quick glance to look at my week and say, man, I did not spend much time in this category today. I did not spend much time in business development, but I spent a lot more time reaching out to clients that I haven't talked to in a long time. Which of those seemed to get me more business? And so it can be, some people are really, really good at loving spreadsheets and wanting to sit down and wanting to crunch the numbers. But there are a lot of people that if you say you're going to need to track in a spreadsheet how many calls you've made and how many networks, they're never going to do that. And so it's also about figuring out what's your personality and what are you likely to do. I think oftentimes we set big goals thinking that this is going to be how I'm going to get to where I want to go, as opposed to chunking them out into much smaller pieces that connect with how you operate as a human. And so if you are a person who tracks, I think looking at that once a week or once every other week is an incredibly powerful way to make that happen. But if you aren't a person who loves spreadsheets and you've tried it multiple times and you've tried I'm going to track all these things and I'm going to be dedicated to these programs and it doesn't work for you, color coding might be a much better option for you to, at a quick glance, say, man, I'm spending a lot more time here. I maybe need to spend some time over there.
Yeah. And I love how, from a productivity aspect, again, when you know what's working, what's not working, you can take time from one of the areas that isn't working and reinvest it and do more of what's working. So that, really helps, again, to give us the knowledge we need so that we can work in the areas that are going to be more purposeful where we need to be.
And when we're tracking on our calendars, especially color coding, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you know how much I love this. But when we're tracking on our calendars and color coding, it allows us to look in the future and say, what do I not have enough time in the future? Because when we're tracking, most of the time it's reactive. What did I just do?
Exactly.
When we color code on our calendar, it allows us to go, oh, I don't have enough green on my calendar. I don't have enough blue on my calendar. I'm going to spend some time today making sure I get more of that thing that is working for me on my calendar. And it allows us to be more proactive as opposed to reactive.
Oh, I love that. So again, having the different categories and the different colors, and the idea is, you want the rainbow. You want to make sure you have enough of the right colors. So now, one of the things that I firmly believe in when it comes to being productive is it's not just about showing up and doing the right activities. I think it's also important to track our energy, how we are showing up, because we might be more purposeful and productive at certain times of the day, certain days of the week. So what are your thoughts on tracking your personal energy?
Absolutely. 100%. I'm a big believer, and I spend a lot of time in the coaching that I do with clients when we're trying to either we're trying to change behaviors or we're trying to understand where we do get our energy from, is really just 5 minutes at the end of every day. And so when we're trying to track, so I use a lot of tracking for trying to shift behavior change. Maybe it's, I know that I need to be on the phone more than I am, or maybe it's, I know I was distracted when I was supposed to be sending out my emails or doing some digging to research where might some good clients be at. And so it's identifying that behavior that you want. And then at the end of the day, write down one time you did it really well and one time that you did not do such a great job at. And what it does by writing it down, not just thinking about it, but by writing it down, it allows you to look back at that and say, okay, it seems like I do a really great job in the morning, but in the afternoon, I really struggle. Or I do a really good job with these types of activities, and I don't do a really good job with these types of activities. And that can really help us to understand, what am I avoiding? What am I doing? We also have the secret, right? Is that we often tend to have work hobbies, which is where we spend our time doing the things we like to do more than the things that we actually need to do. And so work hobbies can become very clear when we're tracking in this behavior change that we're trying to unravel. And so another variation of that, to your point, is tracking your energy. Is, at the end of every day, give yourself an AM or a PM. I was much better this morning than I was this afternoon, or I was much better. And what made that difference? Maybe it's, I went to bed too late, so my morning was not where it needed to be. So, I'm not a big journaler as it would be. That feels very on brand for me. So I should be a journaler, but I just am not. I can't do it. But I am a big believer in every morning and every evening, just taking a look at what's going on. Sort of putting parentheses on my day and saying, what do I really need to focus on today? And what did I do really well during the day? And it helps me really hone in on what makes me the most productive and what makes me the happiest. Where am I getting joy from what I'm doing? Where am I getting energy from what I'm doing? And how do I leverage that in a more meaningful way in the next days to come?
And I think so many times everybody's like the 9 to 5, I got to work 9 to 5. But what it helped me do when I started tracking this is I realized I do better, for a few hours every day. I would almost rather work 6 or 7 days a week, but only for 4 hours a day. One of the things that I learned is I definitely am more productive earlier in the day. By about 3:00 in the afternoon, my brain is done. And I also know that I work better earlier in the week. What this allowed me to do is to front load my days and front load my weeks. So I don't feel as guilty anymore when I finish working, say at 11 o'clock on a Friday morning, because I put in extra time the other weeks. And I think it's so important to pay attention to your own biorhythms of, again, how are you showing up? And if you are productive at night and you want to be a night owl, do it. One size doesn't fit all. So I think that's really great. Now, in tracking, are there other things that you think we should be tracking for success and to help us be more productive?
I think one of the biggest areas that I hinted at, but we don't spend a ton of time focusing on, is where am I getting joy from in the work that I'm doing? Where do I have natural energy? And where am I dragging myself through that work? Because oftentimes we have a picture in our mind of what our business should be, or what we should be focused on, or what we think is going to drive the things. And instead of really being able to say, yeah, if when I spend time here, hours go by like nothing, as opposed to when I spend my time over here, I am using every amount of self-control I have to get myself through the day. And so really being able to understand where you have that natural energy, where you're naturally connected to the work that you're doing. And that can help us reshift about how we think about our business. Maybe we've had this very sort of, solid, this is my business plan, this is what it needs to look like, this is what my business is. But if I understand that I get a ton of joy and energy over here, maybe there's an opportunity that I'm not even looking at because I'm so stuck in my ways and what I think my business should be about.
And I think also when something doesn't bring us joy, those are the things we tend to procrastinate on, which steals away from the whole concept of being productive. So again, by being able to track and measure all these, it gives us so much insight to what's working, what's not working, and to allow us to sort of stay in that realm of productivity and be as productive as we can.
It also allows us to think about what might we needing to be outsourcing, right? What is on my plate that doesn't belong on my plate? If I'm not energized by it and I'm not doing the best job at it, maybe that belongs for somebody else. Maybe I can hire a virtual assistant. Maybe I can hire someone to outsource my social media. What are the things that if I was to shift these off my plate, how does it make me more productive over here in the areas that I'm naturally motivated to do?
It's so true because, when I am on the road, I could be speaking all day or several days and people are surprised and they're like, aren't you exhausted? But it fills me up. For me, sitting in my home office, having to do data entry or billing, I'm going to want to take a nap after about 30 minutes because and it doesn't bring me the same joy. So I think it's so important to really, again, pay attention to that, because also when it's about being productive and when you start tracking, you start to understand what are the core activities, because again, what brings in revenue, what doesn't bring in revenue. So you can, again, set your schedule. So when we do these things, it does allow us to work at the highest level, which is only going to allow us to not only make more revenue, but to serve our people better. Because when we're happy, when we're coming from a place of joy, when we are energized, that's where all the magic happens.
Right. And I think one thing that's really important too is that I think that when we watch people like you and we have these conversations, we get all these tips, we want to tackle them all at once. And I think it's really important to remember then we get so overwhelmed that we end up tracking nothing. We end up doing nothing because we've created this massive system that feels so cumbersome. And so my suggestion would be to start small. Start with one thing that you really want to track. And I like to call them toothbrushing habits, where I'm sure when you get up in the morning, you don't think I'm going to use all my willpower to go brush my teeth. Like, you just brush your teeth because that's what you do. And so I like to introduce new habits one at a time until they become like toothbrushing. And once it's at a point where I just do it, then I add another in, and then I add another in. Because if we try to tackle too much at once, or we've tried the wrong method, we're likely to give up altogether and go back to our old habits.
Exactly. Well, Lindsay, this has just been so enlightening. You know, we talked about the importance of tracking to help us be more productive. And we talked about tracking of the activities. We talked about tracking of our energy, and then also tracking of what brings us joy. And when you start to reflect and start to track and measure these, you can really put together a solid plan that's going to help you be successful. So, Lindsay, where is the best place for our viewers to find you if they want to reach out to you?
Absolutely. 2 easy ways. One is at bluewateradvisory.com. And the other is on LinkedIn. I'm a very active member on LinkedIn, and that's where I spend a lot of time and energy connecting with people. So LinkedIn's a great option as well.
Beautiful. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. And for all of you watching, stay tuned. We're going to be right back after this commercial break for more of Be Productive.
What if you could feel in control of your retirement in just a few clicks? At aceyourretirement.org, you can. Start with a free 3-minute chat with Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer some simple questions like, how do you feel about your ability to save for retirement? Or in how many years do you want to retire? To get free action items customized just for you. Get your retirement back on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
My name is Andrew Glisson. Over the past 4 years, I've built a portfolio of over 200 single-family rental properties that generate over $200,000 a month in income. I've put together a 6-step formula to help you consistently acquire rental properties that cash flow $250,000 or more a month and have $30,000 or more of equity built into them. This includes starting right, becoming bankable, buying right, renovating right, exit strategies, property management, and many more modules. Best of all, if you're not totally blown away by the content, we offer a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. If you're ready to build generational wealth for you and your family, look me up at sfruniversity.com.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
best bilingual news, business talk, and technology content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are watching Now Media Television, the first bilingual media network in the United States.
Welcome back to Be Productive. I am your host, Clara Capano, and today we are talking about a key ingredient to helping you really understand what's working and what's not working. And this is the concept of tracking and measuring for success. So to help us with this conversation, we are bringing in business coach extraordinaire, Libby Boyd. Libby, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Clara.
Well, we are going to have a great conversation because when we are talking about being productive, staying productive, we have to be honest and start to understand that not everything works the way that we think it's going to work and brings us the results. And that can oftentimes cause us to fall to the wayside and lose our ability to stay productive. So tracking and measuring for success. Talk to us a little bit about why you think that tracking is so critical, not just in bringing in the results, but in helping us stay productive as business owners.
Well, it's so fun with technology now. We have so many analytics, so you can really see your results right away. I mean, I don't know about you, but I post something new on Instagram, a new training, and seeing the instant gratification is really valuable. It makes me feel like, okay, people are hearing me. But at the end of the day, it's anything you track will get better. Right? Anything. And through my coaching, I've also got my life coaching certificate because as we know, as moms and women and business owners, it's never just about business. It's also about this whole other side of your personal life. So I try to bring those together and I track everything on both sides of the aisle.
Mm-hmm. So talk to us about that. You say you track everything. What would you think, let's start with the business side first. What are maybe 3 or 4 things that you think business owners should be tracking?
Always their time. As a business coach, mainly for realtors, I really want to make sure people are seeing how much time they're spending with each client. Because again, anything you track will get better. And so my new clients, I see them maybe before they start working with me, they took on a listing. And if they start tracking their hours, they spent 40, 50, 60 hours on a listing. And guess what? It never sold. They didn't set themselves up properly. So then they can see, wow, my hourly rate was pretty terrible. So just to track the amount of time and energy and hours they're spending with that. I also really like to track what, with my analytics, for example, I have a 5-minute training video and I was able to go on and see only 7% were watching that video through. Wow. I am not providing something valuable. If I was, more people would watch it. So I went ahead and redid that whole video, and now I'm at 33%. So every single one, you want to bring value. And if people aren't watching your information, you're just barking to an empty choir, right? So you really need to spend the time to really look at your numbers and to see what is resulting in sales, what is resulting in leads, and what is a waste of your time.
Absolutely. And I love that we're not always going for 100%, but we want to see that progress as we're doing it. And, so much of the tracking, that's exactly what it does. We can see what's working. And if something is working, how can we tweak it maybe to get it a little bit better? With this video, can we take it from 30% into the 40%? But if something isn't working, and we don't want the definition of insanity of doing the same thing over and over again. I also really encourage people to track, and this might be more on the life side, track their energy, because for me, that helps me to learn, when I work better, when I show up better. So is that something that you also encourage people to do, maybe more on the life coaching side?
That's an interesting one. I haven't really thought about energy, but as you know, I've done a lot of research on sleep, and I think sleep is our new frontier, that people are not getting enough sleep. So I track my sleep every single day. So I wear my watch and I see what kind of quality of sleep I'm getting. I weigh myself every morning. Now that's controversial. Some people don't. For me, it's just a check-in every single day to see if I'm kind of where I'd like to be. So I track my sleep, I track that, and I know that I kind of need a nap, and that is something that I've struggled with, and I feel very vulnerable and really silly that I take a nap. But after all the hospital research I've done, this is what I need. So I know I'm very productive. I take my nap and I get back on it right after my hour nap every day.
Exactly. Well, I want to dive into this a little bit more. This wasn't necessarily something I wanted to, or thought I would talk about, but let's talk about this thing, sleep, because I think so many of us are not getting quality sleep and quality rest. So talk to me about it, because I hear people say, oh, I only need 5 hours or this. Why do we need to look at this more in depth for our level of productivity?
Well, because I was so tired during the day, I went ahead and I've done so much blood work. I've done iron infusions. I've done at-home sleep studies. I've even gone into the hospital and been connected to everything, slept overnight, and the next day they had me take 5 naps. So I am non-cataplexy, narcolepsy, and hypersomnia. That's my diagnosis. Wow. I need my naps. But I think everybody needs more sleep, and it's not a weakness. I think we have a lot of badge of honor when we send out emails at midnight, 2 a.m. And like you said, oh, I only need 5 hours of sleep. There's some badge of honor, but I think we're seeing more and more in our health that people getting lack of sleep, it does catch up to them. And there's very few people, if any, and I'm not an expert, but I just know I've done a lot of my own personal work, to track all of this. I think stress management and sleep goes into your productivity, and like what you were saying, your energy levels. They're all tied together. So you're gonna be more productive at work if you have your sleep and your stress management techniques.
Definitely. So let's go back to our tracking. And if we're looking at the numbers, and like you brought up with your video, the numbers were not giving you the results that you had hoped for. Now, some people, when something's not working, their first instinct is, I'm just going to stop doing that. That's not what you did. You actually reapproached it. So tell me a little bit about what you encourage people to do if you notice something isn't working for you. When do you know it's time to reapproach it? And when do you know it's time to dump it? Because those are two different things.
I am a dump it really quick kind of person, and I have to fight that instinct in me. I'm like, okay, right. And we talked about this in the first segment, shiny new object. A lot of realtors, when they come to me, they're like, I'm doing all the things. I did a postcard. I did one phone call. I did one, mixer activity, and that's it. So it's always consistency. We have seen time over time where somebody consistently sent out some postcards and they got results, but you can't do anything just one time and start over. So it is sticking with the path. And like you said before, that's why I give it 90 days. Usually takes 45 days to build a habit. And so if you're consistent for 45 days with something, it becomes ingrained in your business. So that's why I did 90 days, to take that, double it. That should be part of your business practices. So yeah, that consistency and
just the reevaluating of it again, seeing, am I getting, even if it's small progress, even if you went from the 7% to the 9%, that would show you something. Now, do you have any systems in place as far as when you do your tracking? Like, do you do it every Sunday, every day? Like when do you sit down and really look at your numbers and do your tracking?
Oh, that's a really good question too. I mean, I track a lot of things every single day, but yes, I do always have my Sunday meeting with myself. And so every Sunday night I sit down and look at my week. And again, it's business and personal, what I want to accomplish that week. I also really keep track, because I'm in real estate, of every single deal. People have foggy memories when they look back and they said, I had these 10 closings. And I say, where did those leads come from? They're like, oh, I paid for them. Okay. Really, one of them they paid for, but they really track the 9 others was from their previous job, let's say. So I want to track that. I worked with one agent, very successful agent, been in the business for 6 years, and she wasn't really tracking until I started asking her to track her commission rate, right? Commissions are variable, they're negotiable. So her commissions were coming in at 1.8, and this is 6 years in. And we figured out if she was giving discounts, nobody was asking her for it. It's just what she was doing. So what we really focused on is really explaining her value and to track that number, her commission rate. And by tracking that, we improved it, right? So we got to 2.4 the next year. She made $35,000 extra without any additional deals, just by actually charging her full value. So in real estate, it's where do your leads come from? And people are always surprised when they look back. Oh yeah, those are just people I know from my bowling league. I had 3 clients from my volleyball teams. And I'm like, wow, that was one of my best leads is volleyball. So once you start tracking where your leads are coming from, what are you charging for commission? What is your average price point? If you want to make more money, maybe not more deals. Maybe you just need to really search and try to find a higher price point. So those are a couple of things in real estate that I really encourage tracking. And unfortunately, I try to do it once a quarter for those kinds of rates, but usually it's at the end of the year when we're doing taxes. And I look back and I'm like, oh, let's do a higher price point. Let's get a higher commission rate. That's usually.
And I love that because so many times the greatness is in the small little steps that we need to take. And I think that that's one of the things that tracking really brought to me is I didn't have to completely change the system. It could be just little things, such as, I noticed that I have greater focus and energy earlier in the week. So I started to front load my weeks with more activities, whereas the end of my weeks tend to be a little bit more free form. I noticed that certain networking groups were better than other networking groups. So I would start spending more time in those areas. So again, it doesn't mean, and I love the example of the commission rate. You don't have to change completely, but sometimes just understanding how to deliver a message. And in this case, it was about her value. That made all the difference in the world. So I think, again, it goes back to the importance of truly understanding. It's all about the improvement. Because if we don't start tracking, we don't know. And if we don't know, how can we improve? And then also, again, that focuses into our level of productivity. So, Libby, I really appreciate you sharing some of these tips with us. I love the ideas of, again, tracking both on the business as well as on the personal side, because we know it's all about bringing that harmony together. I love the idea of doing it on a regular basis so that you can really look at how it, transforms on the smaller stage, because if we wait too long, we might miss an opportunity. So if people are looking to grow themselves, what is a place that they can look for you and find you if they want you to coach them to greatness?
Well, I would love to. I do work with some more experienced agents, but I saw such a need for brand new agents to really take it from passing their exams to becoming a successful agent. As we know in this business, 87% drop out within 5 years, and it's my personal mission to help them. So go to 90newagent.com. That's my website. You can also follow me on social at 90newagent on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook. So I would love to talk with people about that. I have some other lifestyle programs, but I really want to help these new agents stay in the business and be successful.
I love it. And I know that you can guide them to that. So thanks for tuning in. We covered lots of topics. We're going to be right back after this break for more Be Productive.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
My name is Andrew Glisson. Over the past 4 years, I've built a portfolio of over 200 single-family rental properties that generate over $200,000 a month in income. I've put together a 6-step formula to help you consistently acquire rental properties that cash flow $250 or more a month and have $30,000 or more of equity built into them. This includes starting right, becoming bankable, buying right, renovating right, exit strategies, property management, and many more modules. Best of all, if you're not totally blown away by the content, we offer a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. If you're ready to build generational wealth for you and your family, look me up at sfruniversity.com.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
Welcome back to Be Productive. I'm your host, Clara Capano, and this is the show where we talk with experts to help us with key strategies to get us out of being simply busy and to start being productive. Today, I am joined by Vanessa Rosenblum, and she is working with a lot of leadership and a lot of teams and really helping them dial it in so that they're not focused on doing everything. They're focused on doing the right thing. So Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
And you actually are calling in from Spain. So it is an honor to have you international with us. This is great.
Yeah, it's like exciting. Thank you.
So, on the show, we're talking about the importance of being productive. So many of us I'm going to just say it, we can waste time getting caught up in doing things that are not necessarily working. And the reality is some things work, some things don't work. When I talk about the Clarity Success Method, one of the letters that we focus on is the T, which is all about tracking and measuring. Now, you work with a lot of leaders who are running high performance teams. Talk to me a little bit about why you feel teaching them how to track is really helping them to be more productive.
Yeah, definitely. So what we measure is what gets done. I mean, that's a cliche. We've heard that before, but it really is true. And I think what's so important here is to make sure that you've spent the time to clarify your goals and what you want to achieve, and that the items that you're tracking are tied to those goals. We don't need to track everything. We're not trying to create more work in this process, but it's so important that if you have a goal to make a certain number of contacts, let's say you're in sales, or to spend a certain amount of time coaching and training individuals on your team, that you create metrics to track those things, those goals, so that you know whether or not you're meeting them.
And I think it's also important, because when we track, we learn so much. Thinking about the clients that you're working with, what have been some of the things that have become more awareness for them as you are helping them track? What are some things that they really are cueing into?
Oh, I mean, the time wasters, the gaps in the schedule is really key. So one of the activities I like to do with new clients is a time and motion study, which is incredibly tedious and also so valuable. So for 1 week, you track everything that you do in 15-minute increments throughout the day. And then you highlight what are my dollar productive activities. So those are your green activities, the things only you can do that are the things that are most important. The red, the things that you don't like to do, don't want to do, can come off of your plate. And then the yellow are those, well, yeah, I guess I could do it things. And what people see when they actually see their schedule in front of them is how little time they actually spend doing the things that drive revenue and that create impact. And they feel like they're busy all the time. They think at the end of the day, they've been productive. And when they actually look at what did I actually accomplish today? What did I move forward? It's often much less than they expected. And so that aha can change a lot for them, because then they can look at, oh, well, I can let that go. That's this thing that I like to do that I've held on for a long time but I don't really need to do that. And wow, I could be so much more productive. I could move this project forward so much faster if I freed myself up to spend that time. But until you see it on paper, it's very hard to recognize how you're spending your time.
And I love this example of time because, that's where my heart space is. And I think so many of us are not leveraging and, using our time to its highest and best use. And you're right. When you start looking at it, I remember I had a client and she would, swear up and down, oh, I'm working 10 hours a day. Well, when we had her track it, she actually was working about 5.5 hours a day. And again, that light bulb moment, because it's the difference between being busy and being productive. And, time will fill whatever time we give it to get something done. But you mentioned something else that I think is really critical. The idea of tracking is not to add more to their plate. It's to bring them awareness. I hear this all the time too, especially when it comes to time. The number one reason people tell me they can't track their time is I don't have time to track my time. On average, what are you finding? What kind of investment time-wise are people spending on a weekly basis to track the things they need to track?
Oh, it's minimal. I mean, if you're blocking time in your calendar for the things that are most important, everything else will find space. It's like that analogy of putting the big rocks in a jar and then putting the smaller rocks in the jar, then the sand, then the water. You have to put the big rocks in first. So if all you do is track the big rocks, everything else will find its place. So that tracking is very minimal. So it's sitting down every week. What is the one thing I want to accomplish this week? What are the big important things I need to move forward in my life, in my job, in my career this week? Scheduling those out and then work in the process. So it doesn't take a lot of time.
Right. I tell people even 30 seconds a day is just gives you, that idea. And I love how you break it down to 15-minute increments. You don't have to do every second. It's again, and you want to not just take it day by day. You want to look at the whole picture because there are certain days that are going to have different demands. So by tracking it on a regular basis, you could look at it a month at a time, 90 days at a time, and it'll really give you the insights you need. One of the things that I notice when, I'm tracking for myself as well as when I've had people track is it also brought clues because I could notice certain things that were not getting done, such as, the client calls, because so many of us have call reluctance. So it really allowed me to say, okay, why is this not getting done? Maybe do I need a new strategy? Do I need a new approach to it? So you had mentioned calls, you had mentioned dollar productive activities, you had mentioned time. Is there anything else that you encourage people to pay attention to as far as tracking?
That's a great question. I think if you're a leader in an organization, you need to be keeping track of how much time am I pouring into my team. So what you inspect gets done, right? So you have to inspect. So are you spending the time to coach, train, mentor, verify with your team? And that doesn't have to take up a lot of your time, but as a leader, if you're focused on your production, as a leader, you also need to be checking to make sure that everything else is happening. And so that's a really key part of being a leader and being effective in your role is making sure that your team has what they need to be productive and they know that you have eyes everywhere where they need to be.
Yeah. And as a leader, it's another level because not only do you have to track your items, you have to also, in essence, track your team's items. And so really sitting down with them and explaining to them what they need to track. So as a leader, if you had a team member who, let's say, wasn't doing a good job of tracking or was giving pushback, what are some tips that you could give leaders out there to encourage and get their team to be more proactive in tracking?
That's a great question. So I think it comes down to setting clear goals and creating those key performance indicators. So what are we trying to accomplish? Let's break that down. What are the milestones that we need to meet? Okay, so let's look at your calendar for the week. What are the things that need to happen first, second, and third? When is the best time for you to block that into your calendar? Everybody works differently. You don't need to micromanage this process. And in fact, that is absolutely the wrong way to do it. You need to encourage them to think through what's going to be most impactful and effective for them, but guide them through that process. Okay, great. So you've blocked off these things that need to happen in your calendar. Let's schedule time on Friday to check in and find out how that went. And I'd love to hear what worked for you, what didn't, and what you're going to do differently next week to make sure that you're hitting those KPIs consistently.
I love that because it brings in both the what's expected of me, because we have to set those clear expectations, but then also bringing it back to what's in it for me so that they can understand this is not just another random thing we want them to do. They're understanding how it's actually going to help them achieve the goals that they want. And that's, I think, the beauty of the tracking is it's really going to help us, again, stay in alignment to make sure we're doing the right things. Now, one of the other things I want to talk about is not everything works. And I think sometimes, we can track something and say, oh, it's not working, I'm not getting results. And the initial thought is, I'm going to stop doing it. But that may not always be the best thing to do. Sometimes we have to reapproach it. So when you're working with someone and things are not working, what are some tips you give them before you say, just stop doing it?
Well, I think most people try to give up too soon. I think you're absolutely right. So if we've committed to tracking or committed to a process, we need to be at least 60 days or 90 days in before we're talking about changing it. Because we like to say it takes 30 days to build a habit. Sometimes it takes longer than that. Sometimes we're really resistant to this new habit. So, if it's been 90 days and it's not working, then we can, what did we learn? What do we want to experiment to try differently? And why is it important that we try this different approach? So we're really thinking through it. It's not just, I don't like to do it. It's a real conscious decision about, okay, so we've tried this is what we've learned, this is what we're going to try different, this is our next experiment, and now we're going to give it another 90 days.
Yeah. And I love how you say that, you have to give it some time, because I think you're right. So many of us are instant gratification. We're like, oh, I made 10 calls. Why don't I have a sale? And sometimes it does. And I know, my background has been very heavy in real estate. And I know with so many in sales, what we do today doesn't really show up for maybe 3 to 4, even possibly 6 months in what we're doing. So if I'm not having the results, have I really been doing this for, 6 months, to again say, am I doing it? And the other thing is, have I really been doing it? Because I think that's another beauty of tracking, because I might sit down and say, oh, this activity isn't working. But then I go back and look at my tracking data. And I said, well, I really have only been doing it 40% of the time. Well, doing it 40% of the time, that's what I call kinda doesn't get us there. So again, I think there's so much beauty in looking at all of these different items.
And the other piece of this is, am I doing it at 100% quality and capacity? So you might be showing up to do the activity, but could you tweak the script? Could you try a different version of that activity? How can you level up your skill set and the way you show up in that activity before you decide that it's not working? Because the reality is, like, so many people want to chase the shiny star, the new thing, the shiny object, when it's really like the simple, basic things, the boring things that really impact our success. And so we need to ask, am I just bored because, I want to do something different, or is it really not working for me? And have I really given it the full effort and the full capacity of my talent and skill and energy before, we give it up?
Love it. Well, Vanessa, thank you so much. You have given us a lot of great insight on the power of tracking, why it's important as leaders, what we need to be looking at, and also how we can get our team doing that. So I know that there are going to be some viewers out there that would love to learn more about you, what you're doing. What is the best place for people to find you?
Absolutely. So they can go to lid.consulting, and that's where they can learn about our coaching and training programs there.
Love it. Fantastic. Well, for all of you that are joining in, again, make sure if you want to get on the path to success, you've got to make sure that you are tracking and measuring for success. When we track, it teaches us what's working, what's not working. And all in all, it helps us to be more purposeful, intentional, and productive. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
My name is Andrew Glisson. Over the past 4 years, I've built a portfolio of over 200 single-family rental properties that generate over $200,000 a month in income. I've put together a 6-step formula to help you consistently acquire rental properties that cash flow $250,000 or more a month and have $30,000 or more of equity built into them. This includes starting right, becoming bankable, buying right, renovating right, exit strategies, property management, and many more modules. Best of all, if you're not totally blown away by the content, we offer a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. If you're ready to build generational wealth for you and your family, look me up at sfruniversity.com.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
What if you could feel in control of your retirement in just a few clicks? At aceyourretirement.org, you can. Start with a free 3-minute chat with Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer some simple questions like, how do you feel about your ability to save for retirement? Or in how many years do you want to retire? To get free action items customized just for you. Get your retirement back on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
My name is Andrew Glisson. Over the past 4 years, I've built a portfolio of over 200 single-family rental properties that generate over $200,000 a month in income. I've put together a 6-step formula to help you consistently acquire rental properties that cash flow $250 or more a month and have $30,000 or more of equity built into them. This includes starting right, becoming bankable, buying right, renovating right, exit strategies, property management, and many more modules. Best of all, if you're not totally blown away by the content, we offer a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. If you're ready to build generational wealth for you and your family, look me up at sfruniversity.com.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Best bilingual news, business talk, and technology content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are watching Now Media Television, the first bilingual media network in the United States.
En vivo desde Houston, la ciudad espacial. Esto es Now Media Televisión.
Que crean nuevas realidades. Febrero 2024.
Mundo de constante evolución. Necesitas estar un paso adelante. Heraldo de México. Vanguardia y objetividad. Contáctanos. Suscripciones @elheraldodemexico.com o WhatsApp 5620-0118-564. Heraldo de México. Contenido exclusivo, reportajes únicos y el mejor del país.